right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Doug DeFranco. I am the Communications Chair on the KLA Lake Association. And with me today, I have John Hagreen, who is our board chair for the membership committee. And the reason we're here today is to give a little insight as to how our 2023 membership campaign will be executed this year. It's probably one of the most important times of year for us when we kick off this campaign. So we really would appreciate some insight from you as to what you see happening in 2023 and how we reach our goals. And with that, I guess if we could start out, let's just talk a little bit about, if you could just give me some information as to the campaign timeline. I know we've kind of started this thing, but if you could give some additional detail, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. And the timeline is really right now. We're in the middle of March, so we've launched a traditional mailing, which we solicit to all the members over the past year. And we have about 1,500 residents and businesses around Cayuga Lake that we solicit to. And we do it in a traditional mailing format, but we do allow you to renew your membership via physical mail, or you can do it online. So try to make it easy to rejoin. The campaign runs from April 1st through the following March. And then we will, through midsummer, for those folks that we haven't heard from, we'll kind of send out another reminder notice to just see if they will rejoin at that point. So
is it safe to say that if we have a member watching us now, that if they have not received their renewal letter, they should have, and they probably need to go online directly to renew?
Yeah, 100%. The mailing went out the last week of February. So I hope I hope it's there by now, but absolutely. Okay. Yep.
And that's also a good indication if you didn't receive it and you are a member, perhaps check with us to ensure that we have your proper mailing address, because that also could be an issue for future mailings. So let's talk a little bit about membership trends that we've seen over the last several years with our association.
Yeah, as I said, we have about 1,500 members that have been very supportive of our organization year after year. We got up pretty high when we had some greater threats like fracking. About 7 years ago, we almost reached 1,800 residents on the lake, but we've sort of settled back around 1,500. Certainly, we would love every resident of Cayuga Lake to be a member. To that end, we're going to solicit to our residents that are non-members living on the lake later in the spring, probably. So certainly, those are challenges that we're trying to create higher membership totals, and really we'll do it in multiple different ways. But word of mouth is always very helpful to get neighbors to join if you're comfortable as a member of Cayuga Lake and see the benefits of the Cayuga Lake Association.
So John, do we know, you mentioned about 1,500 members, do we know what percentage of lake owners are actually members?
Well, I'm going to ballpark it at about 50%, because the reality is last study, there's approximately 2,800 residences on Cayuga Lake that line our 58 miles of shoreline from Emmons-Port to Branchport to Peña.
Okay, so about half, about one out of
about half, yeah, and we'd love to get up into the 75% range, which would be great. The one value we have seen with our very loyal members is they have increased their participation financially, which is very helpful as we continue to be challenged with invasive species and blue-green algae, and a lot of the challenges that all of the lakes, especially the Finger Lakes, are faced with on a daily basis. So yeah,
and a lot of it's the unknown, right? There's certainly threats we know about and threats that we don't know about, and to make sure we have enough funds to support any efforts to protect the lake against those unknown threats are pretty important.
Correct. Absolutely.
So let's move on. Let's talk to our current members and ask, how can they help us? Obviously, we're trying to capture our current members to renew, but we're also trying to capture additional members. And how can our current members help us in this campaign?
I think you kind of coined the phrase there. talk to a neighbor, share with them the value you see in our efforts. We have a very dedicated group of board members, approximately 20 people. And beyond that, we have over 100 volunteers that do all sorts of stream monitoring, lakeshore monitoring, all sorts of efforts in volunteerism. We do lots of invasive and species inspections in the with the boat launches, so that's an important part. But as far as membership, it's really the value you would see with our communications, which we have a monthly e-newsletter. We have 4 times a year, we have a physical newsletter that would be mailed to you, and people really enjoy that. They like keeping updated on different situations on the lake, whether it be the lake level, which is always very valuable. Water temperature becomes very important in the summer. So there's really good reasons to be part of this very good organization.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably don't realize that we take the effort and initiative to provide the lake level and water temp 24/7 to anybody who wants it, whether you're a member or not. So we do need that financial support from our members to help that. And if you do find something like that useful, we'd appreciate you to join as well and support us as well.
Right.
Another thing I hear often, and you probably hear the same thing, the printing of the lake directory is always a really popular benefit. That's awesome.
People enjoy it. We do it every 3 years. And it is a tool. I talk to a lot of people that put it right in their boat as they're cruising around. They're able to visit a friend that's on the lake that they weren't sure where they live. So it certainly we'll have another one coming up in another year, but we were a little delayed with the last one with COVID, but it's a great tool, and people do enjoy that. They always speak of it as our membership base.
Any other key benefits that we missed? I know we just talked about quite a few of them.
I think I guess annually, our annual meeting where we share really the health of the lake. I think the members do understand what an asset this lake is. You really can't take for granted enough that this is one of the cleanest lakes in America. And if you really value that, you would value the participation and the efforts that the Keuka Lake Association goes through to ensure it stays that way for years to come. I've known it for 35 years. I vacationed here and then bought a home, and this lake has held true to its cleanliness for all 35 years. And I hope it continues that way for a long time. And that probably is one of the most important things that the KLA does.
Yeah, I'd agree. And when you were talking about that, it just reminded me of what Ray Dell said last year at our annual meeting, our former president. And he said, this is kind of like your 401k plan, probably bigger than your 401k plan. It's a big investment. It has a lot of value, and it means a lot to us, right? Any of us that have appreciate the lake or have property on the lake realize how important it is to protect the lake. So that is really the key benefit. A lot of additional ones that go along with it, but that's really the main one.
Yeah, and the KLA creates a sense of community. Members, you talk to people. I'm on the KLA, and we hold an annual golf tournament, and it creates a greater community, really more than just the 5 towns that hold the landscape around the lakes.
So we talked a little bit about this already, but what are
probably one of the more valuable things that we do is at the multiple launches around the lake, we have stewards that we pay throughout the summer that monitor trailers with boats on them going in and out, and ensuring that there isn't any basically sea life or any type of vegetation that could
stowaways, they call them.
stowaways that could be invasive to our lake. And then Once they're in your lake, they can create all sorts of problem with the fish life and, any of the, oxygen capabilities of other normal vegetation in the lake. So our boat steward program is an important part of our lake life, and then just general activities or information. I would say we communicate a lot about good lake living, using fertilizers with very little phosphorus in them, as that is a fertilizer for weeds and that type of thing. So certainly just the supply of information is very valuable. Our navigation and recreation organization updates folks every year on any of the new fishing rules, any of the issues with speed on the lake, and all of the types of things that people would be interested in, specifically related to boating. So that's one.
And just stepping back a bit, you talked about the boat steward program. I think many people would be surprised how many boats actually get launched every season into Keuka Lake from elsewhere, the number of fishing tournaments that come in, and how critical that program is to have somebody there to not only check their trailers, but to teach them how to check their own for the future so that they can do their own clean, drain, and dry before they go lake to lake. They're certainly a nice asset to the lake to have visitors like that come in, but it's important that they come in clean.
Yeah, and it's also important for folks to understand that that's not free, that we are actually paying, or they become employees throughout the summer that monitor those boats going in and out for that safety purpose. And
then another activity, and kind of related to it because it probably came to our lake in that way, but the Starry Stonework remediation the last couple of years has been a big project of ours, especially in the northwest corner of the lake near Branchport. We've been able to remove a lot of Starry Stonework, which isn't native to us in our lake, to prevent its spread. So that's been a big project as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about how to renew. So if anybody's watching, whether they're a current member or maybe a member or a person or a group considering joining, how can they join our organization? What's the easiest way to do it?
Probably the easiest way is just go on to KeukaLake.com, KeukaLakeAssociation.com. It comes up under KLA.com also, and there's a membership page right when you launch that will allow you to fill out general information, address, home address on the lake, and possibly home address off the lake. And you can use a credit card, you can pay by check. I think you can pay by PayPal. So there's multiple ways to join. Then, once you're a member, then you're into our system, and then you'd get an annual renewal letter in March. So we make it easy. And once you're into the system, you get all the values of lake updates. And also if there's any, like we've had flooding, and our website gives urgent updates, sheriff updates. So you really get a real good communication from KLA on any things that you might expect as you approach Keuka Lake.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add, you talked about how easy it is to join via our website, which it really is. But also, if you want to call our office, we'll take your information over the phone as well, via the phone. That's fine as well. You can also mail in an application, which you can print off the website as well. Whatever is easiest for you, we can make it happen for you. Also, we talked earlier about half the lake first owners being members and half not being members. If you have a neighbor or somebody who just bought a house near you and you want to gift them a membership for the first year, that's always a great idea as well. And you can do that right on our website or by calling the office. That would give them a 1-year membership that you would gift to them. And then hopefully they would see the value in it and would renew year after year.
That's a great idea, Doug. Thank you.
And then last, John, anything we missed? We talked about a lot of things here, a lot of the keys, what our members can expect, some of the things we do, and then how to renew and join. Anything else we should talk about?
Actually, I think we covered a lot of it, Doug, but
the one thing, and I believe it's in the renewal letter. We are encouraging our current members when they renew, if they could move up their level, and give more in 2023, we certainly can use it. the funding because of all the projects that are going on. And when they get their letter on the front of their letter, it will tell them their current status as to what level they joined at. So when they go to renew, we encourage you to try to step up a level from where you were last year. That certainly would help us out a lot. We are an organization of all volunteers essentially, and your money will be very valuable in helping us achieve our mission, which is to preserve and protect Keuka Lake.
Yeah, our membership base, I have to say, has been extremely generous. We go levels from $40 all the way up to $500. And you really, and we just bumped the recent one, we identified a new one at 500, and I was extremely pleased to see how many people joined at that level. It really, it shows that they care about Keuka Lake and they care about the work of the KLA, and they want to be helpful, as they know we are doing the things like you mentioned earlier, DASH, which was the removal of the starry stonewort invasive species up in the northwest corner up by Branchport, which, you know, that was to continue all over the lake. It could create huge problems. So people being generous across all levels is very helpful. It just improves our ability to supply all of these capabilities. As you noted, we are a volunteer organization, but a lot of the efforts we do cost a lot of money, and it's important that we stay healthy as an organization.
Totally. You know, and maybe a last note as we were talking, it's important to know that this isn't just for property owners along the lake, that anybody who enjoys this lake, whether you're, you know, maybe you're a fisherman who comes in on some of these tournaments, or maybe you're somebody who comes in to rent, you know, a week or two each summer, or you take day trips down to Keuka Lake, or you enjoy the wineries and breweries on the sides of the lake.
Sure.
You know, all that is there because of the quality of the lake. If that lake wasn't clean and if it wasn't such a great resource, much of what we see there and much of the enjoyment we all get from it wouldn't be possible. So this isn't just for property owners. They certainly have a big stake in it, but it's for anybody who appreciates and enjoys the lake and its surroundings.
I would 100% agree with that. And I believe this year we're going to make an effort to communicate with some of the watershed residents that aren't right on the lake, but enjoy specifically the view. They become very important to us because they're actually above the lake. Yep. And what's above the lake can create most of the problems, to be honest with you. So very, very good point and very valid point about membership. And as I said, later in the spring, we're going to, through multiple paths, try to communicate with all residential non-members to see if we can convert them over to membership. So certainly that will be one of our late spring and early summer efforts as we lead up to the annual meeting.
All right, John, we appreciate your time and all the information. And obviously, I hope we have a lot of success in our membership campaign, and maybe we'll catch up later in the summer for an update.
Thank you.